come on board. Boko Haram should lay their arms unconditionally and be accepted in the community. Opportunities are out there for them. They can be rehabilitated. An ex-Boko Haram stands having laid his arms and comes back, turns his way away from his negativity. He stands to be a president of this country. He stands to aspire to any position in this country. Why is he wasting his time when he cannot even deliver? We will do that. But we have appealed to them, including their detractors, their collaborators, to see reason to, as fast as possible, quickly drop their arms so that we can once again reoccupy our peaceful position in Nigeria.
So, good evening, everyone. Mazes speaking here. It's a late night one, and it is an unscheduled broadcast. I am, however, doing the broadcast just because of some of the videos that cropped up in the last couple of hours, rather in the last couple of days. Now, and again, as it is customary to this channel, before I get into the analysis that I want to do this evening, for one is for the Boko Haram issue, where, as you clearly heard, one of those that control the Nigerian army, their heads, the army, clearly saying that if a Boko Haram member, a Boko Haramite, drops his or her weapon, he or she stands a chance of becoming a president of Nigeria. What a joke. And isn't that a system that rewards criminality? Now, at the same time, that is people heading a system where another set of people will be criminalized, shot at, killed, chained in a hospital bed, just for some they say they learn Kung Fu, the other they say they march on the street of Zaria, and the others they say they march on the streets with flags, and the others they say, oh, they are demanding to be treated fair in a society and in a system that ought to be a federal republic, that ought to be practicing federal system. But another set of people are those that have engaged in all manner of criminalities, maimed lives, killed people, raped women, burnt churches, burnt mosques, killed their own kith and kin, taking people hostages, kids, children, taking them hostages, sold them. Suddenly, you are about to overrun them, and rather than finish the job, you're now saying to them, drop your arms and your ammunition. Then we should give you and grant you, freedom. Then you can, it basically means you have, obviously, you're no longer, that's it. That's it. Pronto, nothing. I mean, then when you listen to something like this, you ask yourself, what manner of nation can do this? What manner of a people can do this? What sort of a people can do this? That suddenly an abnormality becomes normal. Criminality becomes legalized and institutionalized. Injustice becomes justified. The other day I showed us a video, and from my information, the young man is still being held on his sick bed where a soldier, a Nigerian soldier, shot him. And you shot somebody, and there you are, still chaining the individual. What manner of injustice is that? And people are keeping quiet. It makes my blood boil, and it makes me sick. I hope those that are in authority are listening, because this is the type of thing that really gets me sick. But here you are, again, for those of you, if you didn't listen to what the man, those that say they are in control of the army, if you didn't listen to what he said, I'll play that again for your ears.
To come on board.
Listen.
Boko Haram should lay their arms unconditionally and be accepted in the community. Opportunities are out there for them. They can be rehabilitated. An ex-Boko Haram stands having laid his arms and turns his way away from his negativity. He stands to be a president of this country. He stands to accept any position in this country. Why is he wasting his time when he cannot even deliver? We will do that. But we have appealed to them, including their detractors, their collaborators, to see reason to, as fast as possible, quickly drop their arms so that we can once again reoccupy in Nigeria.
Okay, sorry, I think some of you said there is echo in that, I think, because, yes, just confirm to me that the microphone, that the echo is disappeared, because I just noticed it now that two microphones, for whatever reason, are on. Sorry about that. And I would have to, obviously, play this audio again. If you can hear me, please just confirm that the audio is, I sincerely apologize. But I just read comments now, and I've just seen that. Thank you very much, John Okolie, for letting me know. Vincent AG says, Mr. Presenter. Please, I'm not Mr. Presenter. I don't know. Vincent AG, I am Mazes, okay, not Mr. Presenter. Thank you very much. Okay, yes, I know it should be better now because I've just seen from the deck what the issue is. And thank you once more for highlighting that for me. So let me probably start again. And the issue here is this. Let me play this audio again for us to listen to. And that is as follows.
To come on board, Boko Haram should lay their arms unconditionally and be accepted in the community. Opportunities are out there for them. They can be rehabilitated. An ex-Boko Haram stands having laid his arms and comes back, turns his way away from his negativity. He stands to be a president of this country. He stands to aspire to any position in this country. Why is he wasting his time when he cannot even deliver? We will do that. But we have appealed to them, including their detractors, their collaborators, to see reason to, as fast as possible, quickly drop their arms so that we can once again reoccupy our peaceful position in Nigeria.
So he just said that once more, that Boko Haram should, as quickly as possible, drop their arms, and so that they can reoccupy the peaceful position. And I'm like, wait a minute. Which position? Which one has ever been peaceful? Right? Which position has ever been peaceful? Oh, they should, hand over. And as I said before, I hope you understood what I said before clearly. That the injustice, you look at him saying Boko Haram should drop their arms. Okay, let Boko Haram drop their arms. Granted, let them drop their arms. But he clearly said that, and he's not missing words. These are people that govern you. These are people that head the army. With this manner of thinking, that criminals could become the head of state of a nation, that criminals could become the leaders tomorrow because they dropped their arms. People that have been killing, maiming, raping, burning churches, burning mosques, kidnapping little girls. We know the issue of Dapchi and Chibok. Kidnapping little children. How can something be in this manner? How can, I don't know. I think I probably have so questions running in my head. Hence, I'm doing a late broadcast for you. Not just to keep you awake, but just for us to have a conversation to see. I don't know if this is not only making sense to me, because it is absurd and is, I don't know. I'm just shaking my head in disbelief. that someone in authority within the Nigerian army could be saying this rubbish, utter nonsense in where the pressmen are, and everybody's giving him camera and he's been given audience. You don't be surprised tomorrow they would deny that such comment was never made. Then just oppose that and compare that to a people that would only be marching on the streets. You march on the streets, they say, oh, these are people because they are from certain regions of this nation. They march on the streets. Some, their crime is to be that they demand to be treated fairly. Some, their crime is that they say, okay, this marriage, we are no longer happy. We want to renegotiate and to rediscuss in form of referendum to understand and to agree how to govern ourselves better. The others are saying that the ecological degradation, the environmental pollution in our place is unbearable, that we want you to stop or fix it. And the others are that they worship their own Allah in a different format, and that they have their own procession on the streets, on the highway. And what you can do to a peaceful people that have caused no harm to anyone is to unleash the state power. Those who paid tax to buy those weapons to protect their lives and to protect their properties are those you're going to use those weapons against. No wonder the legend, the Afrobeat legend, one of the best musician that ever existed in the continent of Africa, in the person of Fela Anikulapo Ransom Kuti, once said, uniform na cloth na tailor de sew am. You better know that what you are wearing is just a mere uniform, bought by taxpayers' money. The ammunition that you have is bought by taxpayers' money. Your boot, in everything, from your whole kit, from your headgear to your foot, to your toes, to your socks, everything is with taxpayers' money, or the oil from the eastern region of Nigeria. But here you are, a people you just want to do injustice to them. Why? Why do you dwell so much joy in engaging in injustice? Why do you dwell so? Why do you derive so much joy, sir? Pardon me, beg your pardon. Why do you derive so much joy in, dishing out injustice to a people? The other day I made a video, I'll repeat that again, about a man who works with Emanite and who is being chained at the orthopedic hospital in Enugu. When I say chained, yes, Emmanuel Ani, chained on his hospital bed. His crime? Oh, he was about to go to church. And they said there was commotion in Emene. And he saw soldiers coming, shooting sporadically. He hid beside a car. They went there, saw him, asked him. He identified himself, showed him ID card. What next? The army, a colleague of one of the army, the soldiers said, "Come, let's go and do what we came here to do." And as the army man was about to go out, he shot at him, just like that. Just shot at him. Thank goodness. Anyway, he wasn't dead. He was taken to the private hospital, Chigozie Hospital, according to him. Afterwards, because the bullet touched his bone, he was taken to orthopedic hospital. For some weird reason, they were able to locate him at the orthopedic hospital in Enugu. They said one officer came, this time around a police officer. They came to apologize for what has happened. He was even thinking, okay, if you're now apologizing, then I should be talking about compensation. The next thing he knew it was leg cuffs. They put leg cuffs, chained him on his bed, hospital bed. Someone you've already hung his his legs up. You now put a chain on the other one that you didn't shoot. Why? A man, you have his ID, you know his place of work. You shot at him. Now tell me, what manner of injustice is that you can do that to a man who has done absolutely nothing to you, but you're willing to pardon those who have taken arms against the state. You're willing to reintegrate them to the point that you said it in your own video that yes, if they lay down their arms, they could become the president of a nation. That is an aberration. That is an insult. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes, honestly, sometimes people, to be honest with you, sometimes I feel like I'm going gaga. I feel like, why are not, I mean, why are people not seeing these things? Does it mean when you get close to power, you become an idiot? You become, I don't know, you lose your sense of justice. Emmanuel in Enugu, I don't know him, but when I watched his story on BBC, and I felt so sad that this level of injustice will be happening. Does it mean you don't have people? Where is your elected? I mean, I don't know. Emene is under their senator is Chimaroke Namani. Then you ask yourself, I mean, this is the job where your senator should stand up for you. Where is he? You have a governor. What's he doing? You have Emene. Their rep is Cornelius Njenje. What is he doing? Where is the outrage? Where is the anger? And no one, not that this young man is in there. He said he spent about 290,000, I think, close to 300,000 already that he borrowed. Now his job is at stake. And here you are, you have an army officer once more. Listen
to come on board. Boko Haram should lay their arms unconditionally and be accepted in the community. Opportunities are out there for them. They can be rehabilitated. An ex-Boko Haram stands having laid his arms and comes back, turns his way away from his negativity. He stands to be a president of this country. He stands to aspire to any position in this country. Why is he wasting his time when he cannot even deliver? We will do that. But we have appealed to them, including their detractors, I mean their collaborators, to see reason to, as fast as possible, quickly drop their arms so that we can once again reoccupy our peaceful position in Nigeria.
Which peaceful position in Nigeria? Now, but suddenly you think that, when he made this comment of peaceful, before I band my tongue, please. Peaceful position, reoccupying peaceful position in Nigeria. You think he doesn't know what he's saying. But wait until you hear this. Until you hear a sitting governor, the former FCT minister, Bala Mohammed, that guy is just one bunch of a greedy man. I know what and the role he played in one estate that was built by an Anambra indigene who resided in, or a resident of Malaysia by name. Anyway, from Ikenga, Agwata, because I got to know about this, because somehow I got involved when this estate approved by Erufai was about to be taken over by this governor. What was his crime? His crime is that, he is from certain part of the country. That's all. That's all. And that is his crime. That he is from a place where when you come from, you should not aspire to probably own such. Now, this is the same Bala Mohammed, that is the same governor who is now a governor, saying that you can get certain people wherever, it doesn't matter, wherever if you're from West Africa, and you should come in, and once you come in, you should be able to, get a land and resettle yourself. And and um, I ask myself, if that becomes the case, that you can relocate from anywhere, now we must. Then I called the Yorubas and I said, the Yorubas, you must be ready to go to Cuba. You must be ready to go to Togo. You must be ready to go to Haiti and get all your siblings. After all, there are lands in places. Just give them lands as well. In the same manner, which the Igbos should go to Equatorial Guinea. The Igbos should go to Gabon and get their brothers and sisters and also give them land, by the way, because you're Igbo, they should also get their own land. Now you think I'm kidding. Now watch this.
Why should federal government use resources for this country to accommodate Fulani men who are not Nigerians?
You see, as I said, we are already accommodating them. Do you delineate and then really know who is not a Fulani man from Nigeria? They are all Nigerians, because I said their identity, their own citizenship is Nigerian, even though we have relations all over the world, all over Africa. And so, presumably they are Nigerians. I think you get me.
So if you're from Mali, if you're from Burkina Faso, if you're from, it doesn't matter where you come from. If you're from Sudan, as long as you're Fulani, um, you're welcomed. Come in. That's what Bala Mohammed is saying. This is him. Bauchi State Governor is telling you this, that you should come in and you'll be granted land. Now, the insecurity in Nigeria, and especially the insecurity in the north, didn't start today. I stumbled upon a video that was sent to me yesterday, and I watched it, and I said to myself, I wouldn't keep this video for myself alone, because in recent time I've started engaging myself and speaking to the people of Southern Kaduna, and I begin to make discoveries that I believe many of us weren't conscious about these discoveries before now. There is this construct about what some of us ignorantly refer to the Hausa Fulanis. There is nothing like the Hausa Fulanis. Rather, what you have is the Hausas and you have the Fulanis. Now, the Fulanis have smartly created this impression of Hausa Fulanism. And many people in the South, when I refer to South, I mean the Southeast, South, and the Southwest in Nigeria, have somehow ignorantly assimilated and somehow ignorantly accepted this construct of Hausa Fulanis in order to give a larger than life image. Then I was made to understand what we, especially within the old eastern region, or what we in the south is most times say, oh, Hausa Fulanis or Northerners. No. The way we have the Efik, the Bibios, the way we have the Igbos, the Ijaws, the way we have the Yorubas are also what is obtainable. So it is good. And I think that's part of the reason, maybe that's part of the reason why history was removed. Because if people rarely studied history properly, they should begin to make these distinctions. There was, what's it called? There was one of the great warriors, Amina of Zaria. You know, Recently I read an article that tried to explain that Amina of Zaria was an Hausa warrior, not a Fulani warrior. Difference is that the Hausas we are, this the system of oppression is not necessarily this oppressive as the feudal system of the Fulanese. A woman can rise to the ranks, like in many other Igbo society, you come, or rather in many other societies, including the Igbos. If you come to the Igbos of the West, what we call the Anioma Igbo, you have like Omu Anioma, who is equally like a king, like a male counterpart. But in the feudal Fulani system, you wouldn't see anything like that. And so when people say Amina and linked her to Fulani, it becomes a misconstrued thing. Now, part of this thing is when you now look at that very well, you see, when you look at someone like General Gowon is not Hausa, is neither is a Fulani, right? From Plateau State. You look at, you have, though most of those that have governed Nigeria so far are mostly Fulanis, granted, but there are some that are not. You look at Abacha. Abacha is neither Fulani or he is a Hausa. But many of us, misconstrue this and mumble jumble them into one, and we try to confuse ourselves. And when you go back again, you find out like you have the Kenuris, you have the Hausas, you have the Mumuyes, But why is it that we in the South are lazy not to understand this? That's the reason why they have created a larger than life image. But you can unbundle this and let the masquerade get naked in the market square by really showing and saying it the way it is, by giving it the real name. The way someone will say Igbo, I will say, oh, what are you? Are you Kenuri? Are you Hausa? Rather than say, oh, Hausa Fulani or the North. And there is again one thing the whole South does that we must change. This is something that has gone on over the years that subconsciously people don't even think about it. Have you ever occurred to you that when you see a president let's say the president makes an appointment, what you see every Southerner do is, oh, they have only one Southeasterner and 15 Northerners. You see, why do you break yourself and you don't break them? You break yourself and you say 15 Northerners and one Southeast, 2 South-South, and 3 Southwest. Why? Let us move away from this narrative because it's a narrative of preoccupying and dominating your mind. If you have to, there are 2 things we must change. We must change the breakage, or we'll go back to compound naming, which is, it's either we say, oh, this person is from, in this appointment we have 2 Northwest, 2 Northeast, because it's in those breakage that you will see the underlying injustice even within the North. It is our duty now to begin to expose these things for some of them up there who think that you are their enemy, begin to see that you are not. That is partly what some of the southern coalitions, the PANDEF, the Afaniferes, the Ohaneses, and I think the Sukapus, I think, have been able to, within the last 3 years, subtly achieve. Because when people come together, we see, oh, the North. Well, because when we say the North, oh, the Northern Governors Forum, 19 governors, it becomes huge. But we in the South, we see we are smart, but we are dumb. Because we don't even have a Southern Governors Forum. The South can never even agree on anything. If not, the South could demand We want a rail to crisscross the South, and you sit down and you decide and you map it out. No, but you won't. Why? Because you have what's it called? A bullion van politician somewhere who thinks that if the South comes together, he will lose his, um, grip on some certain sections of the South. But that is not the case. There has been attempts made by what they call the National Assembly caucus to form the Southern Front, sometimes to confront this. Because if they have, there are sometimes you debate a bill. Yes, you know by the sheer number that you do not have the number to match, but at least you can do one thing for Christ's sake. You can stage a walkout. That is also something that you can do. If there is an adage that says that an elephant came to arrest the tortoise, and the tortoise looked at the size of the elephant and said, I couldn't put up a fight. But the tortoise began to, grapple the ground and make some marks on the ground. And the elephant looked at the tortoise very in bewilderment and said, "Tortoise, what are you doing?" The tortoise said, "No, before you take me away, let me finish these things I'm doing." And the elephant asked why. At least the tortoise said that when someone comes around and heard that me, the tortoise, was arrested, someone would know that at least I put up a small fight before my arrest occurred. So the adage says. And what that means is we must begin to get ready to put up some element of fight as a collective, and that's what I refer to as compound. As a collective, we must begin to change the narrative. Having said that, it brings me to when we look at the conflict in the North, it didn't start today. I was telling someone, I said, the issue of killing people at every slightest provocation, someone in Denmark draws a cartoon, and some people somewhere decide to take revenge of a cartoon that is drawn in Denmark, in faraway Europe, here in the mother continent. Isn't that a reflection of something very intolerable? And here you have a man, was a pastor, became a bishop, became a state CAN president, narrates how in 1987 a bunch of people came to kill him. Now, again, this is Kaduna, 1987. That means the crisis, the southern Kaduna issue, the crisis in some part of the northwest region, because now consciously I'm beginning to break it down. It's part of the history that we must learn. Did not start today, people. It didn't start today. Why? Listen to this man very, very attentively. I listened to it, I felt like crying. Listen to him.
In 1987, in March 7 to 12, 100 churches in Zaria City were burned down, and over 300 Christian homes and businesses, cars, and a couple of people killed and destroyed. I was the leader then of the Christian Association Zaria chapter. And the Lord asked me to tell the people to do nothing. And I wrote that letter, it was circulated, and the Christians watched as their businesses were being destroyed, homes killed. In 2010, I was in Jos as bishop. To the date, 7th to the 12th of March, 3 villages in the near outskirts of Jos, Muslims massacred men, women, and children And the church leaders, we were all convinced to beg the villagers and those that survived and the entire Christian community to do nothing. They cried until their voices were dried up, tears dried up, and there was nothing more to cry, and they just watched. In 2006, over 40 people came to my house to kill me. It turned out I postponed my return home, and they met my wife. They did unspeakable things to her, beat her, left her half dead and totally blind. Through the mercy of God, she recovered. 6 months later in the USA, she came back. Exactly 1 year later, they came back again. This time they met me at home. Over 30 people came, broke down the house. They had their time, broke down the back door, came in and took me out to kill me. They later on changed their minds and said they would kill me in my bedroom. I pleaded with them to pray, and they allowed me to pray. As I prostrated before the Lord, about 2 minutes later, my wife was holding my hands. 5 minutes later, my son came in and I said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "Daddy, they've gone." What chased them away, what they saw, what they didn't see, only eternity will reveal.
Amen.
Now, friends, I'm not saying this to play down on those who have died. I've lost a classmate who was a pastor in Kaduna. He was roasted in his church. I've lost colleagues, schoolmates, and brothers and sisters who've been slaughtered for the faith. Why I'm alive, I don't know. But one thing I know, until my time is up, and I know I will die someday, blood crash, air crash, car crash, whatever crash, until that day, I have a gospel to proclaim. I have a gospel worth living for, and I have a gospel worth dying for. Amen.
See, one of those things you watch, you don't even know where to start. Pay attention, 1987, 2010. These are the key dates that he mentioned. Now you ask yourself, for how long, for how long shall this manner of killings continue? Remember the pogrom of 1966. Yes, it was started by a bunch of, military guys from certain part of the country, some of them, not all, and some leaders lost their lives, but the retaliation was out of this world. The retaliation was out of this world. Granted. But even before 1966, there has always been an orgy of killing, bloodletting, and it hasn't stopped. You ask yourself, for how long shall this continue? It's just that maybe we are now more conscious, just that when someone from Southern Kaduna sent me this yesterday, and I've watched this. This one now is about the sixth time I've watched, and each time I keep thinking, as of 1987, even some of you that remember the Matasina 83, I remember that vividly as if it was yesterday, because one of my elder brothers still live in Jimetayola at that time. And that was, the time that my late mom actually developed high BP, because, then the elder brother was one of my mom's favorite. And, to see, because no one could, that time there was no phone. No one could make communications. All you can hear from radio is about killing, 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 killing. Yet, there appears to be no succor and no end in sight. And this is the same thing that, in the same manner, imagine in 1987, you rewarded those that engaged in what he just narrated now. He said his wife was defiled. I mean, I don't need to spell that out for you, what that means. They did all manner of things to her. They poked her eyes, made her blind. For what? So someone's fate. You hear all manner of things, and I think there was this young man sentenced to death because of blasphemy. Listen, let's break it down. I don't, honestly, if you're a Muslim watching and you think, there are things that should make us ashamed as humans. Two young men were arguing and they said something considered blasphemous. Now he's been sentenced to death. Now, what is trending today is that people in Poland, and now, people that survived Auschwitz are now saying, we are ready to serve this sentence for this young man. I read the story today. I said, wow, people are willing to serve a death, to serve the sentence you hung on someone because of your useless, blasphemous nonsense. Just absolute nonsense. You see, what I have always said, and this applies to every religion, stop fighting for the gods. Stop fighting for the gods. If your God feels so offended, let him fight for himself. If you're a Christian, somebody insult your God, insult your Christ, insult your Mary. If your Mary feels offended, let the God come and fight for himself. If you're a Muslim, somebody you say is blasphemy, that he talks about Imam, he talks about Prophet Muhammad, it doesn't matter. If your prophet is really prophet, let him come and fight for himself. When shall we receive sense and stop deceiving ourselves as a people? Religion is about the thing that actually causes confusion in society. You have Muslims killing Christians. You have even Christians destroying traditional worshippers, their place, and burning down artifacts that our ancestors spent so many man-hours cutting down irokos and oko trees to carve. And we, because of our, because the way you have the way you have Muslim fundamentalists, you also have Christian fundamentalists. That's what I call them. Because they think if it has to be the way they consider these things to be done, it has to be that same way. And Ikenga becomes a mere wood of carved object, becomes an issue that it must be destroyed and burnt. Somebody looks at Ikoro, carved by men, when there was no chainsaw. You never considered how they were able to do those things, carve them wofichi with marks. And you just, because you think you can do Arabaraba Kawasaki, Arabaraba Shansha, Kansha, and you think you can just come and burn them down. The same way I advocate for us to just do away with this rubbish laws, call it Islamic or Sharia law, is absolutely rubbish. It has no bearing in modern days. The same way I do also advocate for us to begin to, within the southern region, especially the southeast, make laws that anyone who destroys any artifact must go to prison. I don't care if you're a bishop or if you're a pastor. Why would you destroy something you do not have any understanding of? Why? Why can't we ever live in peace as a people without? I mean, that's why till tomorrow, the greatest motto, the greatest thing I like about a people is what the Igbo refer to as Ewe Belu Ugo Belu. Let the kite perch and let the eagle perch. Why would you think you're superior? Why would you think, look at this man. His wife was just all manner of things. They were about killing him. Thank God that at that moment God intervened. His life was spared. The same way that I advocate, please, my people, we must move away. Honestly, it is a shame that you wake up, all you read is this, everything that happens to us is about religious intolerance. Extremists. Boko Haram is anchored on that. Everything you do, a Christian burning down, going to your late father's obi and bringing out Ikenga and Dandikurus and burns them down means you are also a religious fundamentalist. That's what you are. You are no better than Boko Haram. Basically, I can call you a Christian Boko Haramist because there is no difference. And you a Christian and you a traditionalist, and you think a Christian should not exist, is the same thing. People, let's begin to think. We can make this world a better place. We can, people. Give this video a thumbs up if you like the discussion this evening, and let's, continue. Now, this segment now, the final segment of my conversation with us now, while you're giving the video a like and sharing the video, let us look at something that is happening with COVID. And this especially affects Nigerians in the diaspora. If you're coming home from the diaspora, I have this experience from Brekete family. Some of you must have seen the video. Some of you may not. But let me play this video and let us look at something here. This is the video here. Listen attentively. Why you like the video.
Of money at the airport. Somebody will come back, will be direct victim. Be there here. Let's appreciate you for summoning the courage to come forward. Hold the mic, sir. Your name, sir? Take them close to you like this. Okay, Ndubisi. Take, make I hold the mic for you. Okay, which country you from? Come back.
I come from Sweden.
Sweden.
Yeah.
Which day you come back?
I left Sweden on the night and I came into Nigeria on the 10th.
Hold this phone for me. So what thing happen for airport?
For airport, it gets form where federal government say we go fill online before we go leave where we come from Europe. So when I fill that form finish, they gave two options. It's either I pay with my card or I pay on arrival. Then because of the network that is bad in Nigeria, I choose the option of paying on arrival. So on getting to Nandaziki Airport,
Abuja here.
I use my ATM card. And this picture here, I showed them in the airport that I've finished the form. And they saw the capture. And they said I should give them my passport number. I gave them my passport number, they queue it in their computer and give me the POS that I should pay. And I brought up my ATM card. This is my Zenith Bank ATM card.
No worries.
And this is still the receipt.
Continue, sir.
I paid with this card, and they debited me. I checked my...
How much they debit?
42,750. They debited. I checked online. They have took the money from my account. So when I now reach they give me two options. One lab in Jabi, and the other lab in Metama. So because I live close to Metama, I said, okay, let me take the one in Metama. But if you put the address of the lab in the Google, it will take you to Emma Plaza. One syndic lab in Emma Plaza. So when I get there, they said they don't know anything about it.
You see, hold on, I'll continue. You see the same thing about Nigeria. In as much as I drive anywhere I go to Nigeria today with Google Map or Waze, but sometimes, from what he just said now, he have an address that is not correct. It can take you to a wrong address. But in this case, it appears to be an orchestrated fraud, intentional fraud. Those of you in the diaspora, listen attentively.
What I'm talking about, I should leave their office. I was about having problem with them, but I said the Google map is showing me that this is the address where I'm coming. And I showed the manager of the lab. He said, yes, the Google is saying shit. So what I did, that, and I came out of the place, I met one gate man. I said, please, can you direct me how to get this place? The man said I should go to this day do. I went to this day do. They say it's not there, that I should go to Minister of Health.
Ministry of Health.
Secretariat. I went to Minister of Health Secretariat. They said I should go to MM, one conference center. So I took the test again to that MM. When I get to that MM, and I found the lab there. Then I told the guy, look at my receipts. I came to do the lab because they say if I don't do the lab, they will ban me from leaving the country. And I need to start work on Monday. And the guy said, okay, let him forward my information to Lagos. I gave him my information, forwarded to Lagos. We waited for that the whole day. I was sitting there with them. When the guy was closing by 4 o'clock, he couldn't give me a concrete answer. He said, Lagos have not replied, that I should go home. I went home, but I was there when all of them resumed work. He said, okay, let him check the system. He said the name they gave him, that my name is not inclusive. I said, but look at he said he's seen the name that I've paid, but he cannot see my name. I said, but how come? Then luckily for me, 2 people that was in that same flight with me came, and they couldn't find their name. Even my friend that came from Sweden came, he couldn't find his name. Then I asked me that if I want to do this test, I have to pay under money. And I have the information, and I paid under for 2,700 to get there. And they did the test. And this morning, I'm supposed to leave Nigeria on Saturday. And they are calling me now. They sent me a message that I have to go and do another test and pay under for 2,300. I'm just from there. I had somebody calling from Turkey. I was in a taxi that the taxi man
was
saw my
listening
cry
at the station
and said that he need to bring me here. The taxi man now.
Let's appreciate the taxi man. God go bless him.
The taxi man now put the
Thank
radio
you.
And we had it. And
Our people go follow you, go make we see all the money where they don't collect.
We are like 200 and something passengers on that flight.
Whoa.
So times 3.
Whoa, 200 and something.
Okay, no worries.
I went to the bank, and my bank said I should go to this Access Bank. I went to Access, but they said they cannot help me.
Okay, thank you. Please sit down, sir. Please sit down, sir. Nigerians, now they hear. Now, if these kind of people decide they no go come back home now, we go to blame them.
You decide not to come to Nigeria again.
You will come back.
I will come back.
You will come back, sir.
This place is too much. You understand?
No,
it's better they tell us if you're coming to Nigeria, give us 100 euro. We'll give them. If you're going to give us 100 euro, we'll give them, because this place I passed through since 1 week I'm in Nigeria. You can't imagine it. It's not good. We have a bad name abroad. If you're coming to your country, you see first a bad.
See, this is an adult now. Because of the treatment that they have given him, he's now crying.
It's not good. I know what it took me to come to get a job because I'm a Nigerian. Are you getting me? It's not good.
Okay.
If I show you my account, almost 90,000 I have gone out of my account. Stay the test, they cannot upload it on the system. And if I'm living on Saturday, the system, they will ban me from living in Nigeria. I'm going to get a job now because of the community. It's not good. And it's hard to...
Sir. Excuse me, Daniel. Please sit down, sir. Please sit down, sir. Sir, do you know my name, sir?
I used to hear your name, sir.
What is my name, sir?
Ahmed, sir.
What other name do you know that is attached to my name?
Bracketed family.
So you can see that now. Now my take, because it doesn't help us to just play the video, say the system doesn't work, and not to proffer solution. My solution is, people, you've been told that when you're coming into Nigeria, you must do a COVID test, right? Because I mean that is the current protocol. It could change tomorrow. I don't know. But the current protocol is that when you're flying into Nigeria, you must do a COVID test within 72 hours before you come in. And most times, these tests are paid. You can't, because if you're in America, if you're in the United Kingdom, for instance, you can't just go to the hospital and do a test if you don't have symptoms. Therefore, these tests are charged. I think someone who came from the UK last week told me that in the UK they charge £150 to do it. This cannot be charged on the NHS. Someone from America as well said the same thing, that they charge money to do this. So it's not something that your insurance company can do, because it is an extraordinary travel. You're trying to embark on the time of, national pandemic. Therefore, Imagine, for instance, you've paid, let's assume that pounds is sold for 580 and you paid 150. That is you paying 87,000 to do a COVID test. Sadly, I have someone 2 weeks ago, no, last week, who actually uh, had a COVID test, thinking that within 1 week, if she does one within 1 week, it could work. So she did one, and on getting to the British counter, she was told no, it has to be valid within 72 hours. Now, her tragedy started. She has to now go back and do a second test. Not only that, she has to do a second test, she has to pay money to rebook her flight. Now, the stress of having paid money to the taking a taxi to the airport to Heathrow, you have to pay another taxi to go home, pay another taxi again to come back, pay for another test. So obviously, it becomes very, very stressful. And you ask yourself, you are not actually flying into this place to come and enjoy yourself. You're flying into this place for everyone, from the airports, from the person working at the airport to make your life a living hell, from those at the airport trying to flex money. You can see the testimony of the young man now. Everyone is basically, eager and willing to rip you off. You ask yourself, where are the authorities? What are they doing to stop this? My advice, and hence the reason why I brought this into this evening's broadcast, is for me to give my own advice. From what this young man has said, what I think is the best thing you will do is do not take the option of paying in Nigeria. It appears those that pay in Nigeria, the money goes into a private pocket. I do not have this confirmed, but if I use deductive analysis from what the young man said, I think that's what is happening. So you pay online, get your QR code, and use that information, come in, and obviously, hopefully, they might do the test. But it is, I don't know why we are a people that kind of, how do I say that? We're people that every time we look at something where we can make money, there must be a way to flex another person. There must be a way to, do ojoro to the next person standing beside you. Why are we like this? Someone coming home, just, I think for 1 week, he has to go back to work. Now he has spent a couple of days in Nigeria. No one is actually asking him, because if he has missed his flight because of not having that COVID test in Nigeria, obviously he probably couldn't come in again. And tell me, if you decide not to come to Nigeria, some people ignorantly in Nigeria will say, oh, I have an uncle in Sweden. He doesn't come home. He stays there. He does this, the other, yeah. You're talking out of ignorance. You don't know what he has gone through. You don't know what has put him off. Last year, we saw this young man, I said it yesterday, from Germany, who came home and was kidnapped on his way after Benin bypass, on his way from Ihiala to Lagos to board a flight. This young man now, do you think if he had a direct flight from Sweden to Enugu, he can say he's Igbo, do you think he would have anything to do with Abuja, for Christ's sake? And this is one of these things, I mean, some of you may think, oh, Maz, why do you keep hammering on this airport issue? I mean, of course it does, and it is part of the issue that bogs us down, that holds us down, that things doesn't move. Anyway, people, on that note, I will say thank you very much for joining me this evening. If you have any question, you can, obviously type your question, or you can call to make your contribution. But if not, let me take some comments and we call it a day. So, I think there isn't much comment from here. Vincent A says, food for thought. Food for thought. Stop fighting for the gods. Yes, stop fighting for the gods. Let the gods fight for themselves. If somebody insults Allah, insult his own God back. If somebody insults Christ, if you cannot insult his own God back, let him or let Christ or whichever God insults. If somebody insults Amadioha, if you're a traditional worshipper, if somebody insults Mumuye, if somebody insults Shongo, don't fight for the gods. Let Shongo fight for himself. If Shongo cannot fight for himself, so be it. So why do you bother yourself? Huh? Any god that cannot fight for himself, leave him. We have a 12-year-old boy being sent to prison because of blasphemy. What someone, an adult, sits down somewhere, call himself a judge. Anyway, what type of judge is he? Maybe he's one of those aeroplane drivers. Calls himself a judge and sentences a 12-year-old to prison. Now the world is now saying we want to take over the prison and have him and serve the prison time for him. Well, thank you very much. And I have here Chimezie Ugochukwu. That's a good topic and good discussion. Thank you very much, my brother. We keep doing our best to see if we will be awake because it appears we sleep a lot. Honestly, sometimes I didn't want to, I didn't want to say this before, but sometimes I think some of the things we do and the things we say, makes one wonder how come we are in this mess. I saw a video of a Congolese pastor walking. People are dropping their wrapper on the floor for him to walk on top. I thought that was madness. I thought that was madness. But I saw the same video of our own brother, the Indaboski, the Ryan, the Ryan. I saw the same video. People are putting their wrappers for him to climb on. I shook my head. I said, our redemption is. We must keep talking, but our redemption is too far. It's too far. Religion has occupied that part of the brain that thinks. Probably that's why poverty is everywhere. Probably that's why we are no longer able to fight for our freedom. Because I give this analogy every time and I have no apology. Someone tells you, oh, pray when you get to heaven, everywhere will be gold. Imagine for 1 second, you've lived in Potopoto all your life. When you get to heaven and you see gold, won't you go to the toilet or to the basement where the Potopoto you have known all your life is, and just that will probably be the place you will sit down? Because you probably don't know any other thing. And because of that mentality, that is why you cannot hold your leaders to account. Because someone is giving you hope, oh, when you get to heaven, everything will be fine. But that same person is living his own heaven on earth. Open your eye. Make sure you hold people to account. Demand your own part of this heaven on earth. Someone comes in, takes your own mineral resources in your own place. You do nothing. Yet the same mineral resources, the environmental pollution, he cannot do the same in his own country. But he comes to your own place, he does it, and everybody keeps quiet. We must somehow, we mustn't stop talking, but we must keep talking in order for our brains to be liberated. Because, again, if you have never used a breakable plate, If you have never in your life sat on a dining table, how would you learn how to use fork and spoon and knife when you get to heaven? Start on earth to learn it. And the best way you can learn it is to demand that you be treated right and you be governed right here on earth. Because in my estimation, if you are poor here, automatically, because remember, in Nigeria, you see people go and get maid. When a maid comes into a house that is well built, and that maid is coming from a mud house, if you watch carefully, you see the countenance of that maid when that maid walks in. She will cling to the polythene bag or the nylon bag she came with her clothes in between her legs, just, doing like this. Why? Because she has seen something that she hasn't seen before. Some of you, when you come to Dubai, you begin to look. Cars might even want to knock you down because you haven't seen a very clean environment. And you wonder, are these people human? Why? Because they are being governed right. But you and I can do the minimum to demand to be governed right. And in conclusion here, I must tell my brothers, please, let us not only dwell on bad news. I've read some comments people made when I showed about Ebonyi State yesterday. And listen, let your brain not only be configured for bad news. If someone is doing right, it is. No one pays me. It is my right to say it if you're doing wrong. And if you do right, I would as well. There is an adage in Igbo that says, when you smack a child with one hand, you draw that child near with another. If someone in the midst of all blind people appears to be doing all right, of course you say it, but not in a sycophantic manner. I repeat, what is happening in Ebonyi State must be said in order to shame others. Someone, I read a comment this evening and really cracked me up. He said somebody should come and if they can swap Abia State governor with Ebonyi State governor. Maybe when the governor begins to listen and hear such comment, he will begin to know, what is this governor even doing? Why people are talking about him? Ask yourself, why are people talking about 4 governors when it comes to governance in Nigeria as it is today? They talk about Ayade of Cross River. They talk about Zulung. By the way, the Zulung that this week again, they wanted, his convoy was attacked and they wanted to kill him. Why? Was it by the Boko Haram? Or was it by those who doesn't like what he's doing? It doesn't matter if it's not east, not west, not whatever. Good governance knows no boundary, and anyone who has any atom of humanity in him must appreciate good things. It doesn't matter if it's within the south or within the north. What we abhor as a people is ill treatment, and ill treatment also knows no boundary. When someone is being ill-treated in the north, in the south, in the west, and in the east, justice and equity demand that we speak up, because it's only when we begin to speak up for one another that we can together begin to bond and begin to demand for a collective change. As I was saying, you have Zulum, you have Ayade, you have Dave Umahi of Ebonyi State, like him or hate him. The things he has been doing, if all the governors were doing the same, by now we would have accelerated our growth. Our development would have accelerated. You cannot be talking about Akuluon or bring back your money, think on philosophy. How? A friend of mine in Anambra State is building a house in Mbako. Youth will come, stop work, pay 300,000. He will pay 300,000, no receipt. In Anambra State, as we speak, he will go and invite the police. Police will stay there for 2 days, collecting 75,000 every day. After 2 days, they will go. The youth will come back. Land, whatever will come. Development will come. Now tell me how you want to develop in that hostile environment. Deal with these issues. But here you are, an individual says, okay, I don't want you to think about, building this, building that, engaging in this manner of issue. I will build it. Come in. You have Computer Village, Lagos. It has been established. It was done by human. Someone, when we talk about Dubai Mall, somebody conceived it. Somebody built it. Not those that own shops in Dubai Mall built it. Therefore, if a man decides that such mall that you see in Dubai is also befitting for Ebony, for Christ's sake, that is a man that understands what it takes, and so be it. So, my people, please, I beg us and I plead with us, let us not only expect, only negativities. And if you don't talk about negativity, that means you're a sabo or you're a sellout or you, come on, I don't know, let's drop such. It doesn't help us. When someone does right, we praise that person. I was having a conversation in one of my Zoom call. Chief Wazirike, that is the former chairman of Aki Kenga Lagos, said something that struck me. He said that the 9 months governance of Emeki Hedioha in Imo State, comparatively to what Hope Uzodinma is doing now, appears as if Emeki Hedioha governed Imo State for 4 years. And I was taken aback. 9 months. And people feel he has been there for 4 years. Only for 9 months. Yet, this one is over a year now. And all you see, protest, pay us our money. Then where, you ask yourself, it was the same state, the same allocation. How did Emeka get the money he was using in paying? How come this man can no longer pay what the previous governor was paying? Therefore, if there were things the former governor was doing that people said, okay, oh, these things are correct and these things are right, that doesn't mean that one must agree with everything he does. No, there are areas that when he does something that one doesn't agree, you say, because come on, listen. One good thing with many of us is that no one pays me, no one can pay me. That's why I can say whatever I want and I can praise if I consider, in my humble estimation, that what this individual has done is worthy of emulation. Yes, of course, I will say it. On that note, I will say thank you very much for joining me this evening. Have a wonderful Saturday. It's already here in the wonderful Igbo nation, 5 minutes after the hour of midnight. On that note, I will say you have a wonderful sleep, and I believe I will do so. We'll meet some other time. If I do not come online and unshadowed again, then let's keep a date for next Friday evening. Once more, I am Mazi Ezoke. Remember blessed.